Have you ever looked at your bank account after a completely normal month and wondered where all your money went? You didn't buy anything crazy, no major purchases, just regular stuff. Groceries, a few meals out, maybe a new phone because your old one was getting slow. Normal expenses. And yet somehow you're sitting there thinking you should have way more money than you do. The thing is, and this is what most people don't realize until it's too late, a lot of the stuff we buy today just isn't worth it anymore. Not even close. Prices have gone completely insane on things that used to be reasonable, and we're all just sort of going along with it because that's what everyone does. Today, I'm walking through the 9 categories where your money is quietly disappearing, and exactly what to do instead.
My name is Jude, and I help people understand money and how to actually keep more of it instead of watching it disappear on overpriced things. If you want to stop feeling broke all the time and figure out where your money should actually be going, subscribe and hit the like button if this helps. Let's get into it.
Let's start with something that's going to make some people defensive, but it needs to be said. Fast food isn't cheap anymore. It just isn't. Remember when fast food was the thing you got because it was quick and affordable? That was the whole point. You could grab a burger and fries for a few bucks and be on your way. Those days are completely gone. Now you're looking at $12, $15, sometimes $20 for a meal at a fast food chain. $20 for fast food. You're standing at a counter or sitting in your car eating out of a paper bag, and it's costing you the same as a decent casual dining meal would have cost just a few years ago. The value proposition has disappeared entirely. You're paying premium prices for food that's still the same quality it always was, which is to say, not great. And people are doing it anyway because it's convenient and we've all just accepted this as normal. What to do instead? Cook at home. It doesn't have to be complicated. Eggs, rice, pasta, chicken. You can eat well for a fraction of what fast food costs. Save the convenience for when you actually need it, not out of habit.
Eating out at actual restaurants used to be something you could do pretty regularly without destroying your budget. Maybe once or twice a week, no big deal. Now, going out to eat has become a luxury expense that adds up shockingly fast. You sit down, order a couple of entrees, maybe an appetizer, drinks because why not, and before you know it, you're looking at a bill that's $60, $70, $80 for 2 people, at a place that's not even fancy, just a regular restaurant, nothing special. Then you add the tip, and suddenly you've spent $100 on dinner. $100 that's gone forever. You can't get it back. You ate some food and now it's over. When you're doing this multiple times a week, which a lot of people are, you're talking about hundreds of dollars every single month disappearing into restaurant bills. And for what? Food you could have made at home for a fraction of the cost? Most people who are really struggling to save money or build any kind of wealth are eating out way too often. That's usually where a massive chunk of their income is going. They don't even realize it because it's $20 here, $30 there, but it adds up to thousands of dollars a year that are completely optional.
New cars. This one drives me crazy because the math is so obvious and yet people keep doing it. Buying a new car is one of the worst financial decisions you can make, and I'm not exaggerating. The moment you drive a new car off the dealer's lot, it loses something like 20% of its value instantly. You haven't even gotten home yet, and you're already down thousands of dollars. Then it keeps depreciating, losing more value every single year. Meanwhile, you're probably making payments on it, paying interest on top of the purchase price. The thing you're paying for is actively becoming worth less. It's the opposite of an investment. A 3- or 4-year-old used car is going to be just as reliable, get you to the same places, and cost half as much, maybe less than half. The depreciation has already happened. Someone else took that financial hit. You're getting a solid vehicle without the penalty. Buying a new car means treating yourself to being broke for the next 5 years while you make payments on something that's constantly losing value. Keep cars until they genuinely fail. Buy certified pre-owned when you do need to replace one. The difference over a lifetime is staggering.
Designer clothing. Now, I'm not saying all expensive clothing is a waste. Sometimes you need quality items that last. A good pair of boots, a well-made coat.
things that will last years and actually save you money in the long run. But that's not what most people are buying when they buy expensive clothing. They're buying logos. You can buy a plain white t-shirt for $10, or you can buy essentially the same t-shirt with a designer logo on it for $200. Same cotton, same factory probably. The only difference is the logo. And people pay that $200 because they think it makes them look successful or fashionable or whatever. Meanwhile, nobody actually cares what brand your t-shirt is except you. Nobody's impressed. They might notice the logo, but it's not changing their opinion of you. You're just out $190 extra for no real reason. Designer jeans, luxury handbags, expensive sneakers. The quality difference between the luxury version and a normal version is usually minimal. What you're paying for is brand recognition. And most people doing this don't have money to burn. They're going into credit card debt to buy designer clothes because marketing convinced them they need it to be worth something as a person. They don't. Vacations have gotten completely out of control price-wise. Taking a vacation used to be pretty affordable if you were smart about it. That's gotten way harder. Flight prices are insane. Hotels are insane. Even the budget options are expensive compared to what they used to be. And people are still taking elaborate vacations they can't afford because they feel like they have to. They see everyone else posting vacation photos on social media and think they need to do the same thing. So they book a trip they can't really afford, put a bunch of it on credit cards, and then spend the next year paying it off with interest. Experiences have real value. Seeing new places is great, but not if it's putting you in debt, not if it's preventing you from saving or investing for your future. You know what else is valuable? Not being broke, not being stressed about money all the time, not having to work until you're 70 because you spent all your money on vacations in your 20s and 30s. Take smaller trips closer to home, explore your own region, save the expensive international travel for when you can actually afford it without going into debt. That's not deprivation, that's strategy. Streaming services. Everyone has 5 or 6 of them now. Each one is only $10 or $15 a month, which doesn't sound like much, but when you add them all up, you're paying $60, $70, $80 a month just for television. Now, think about how much of that content you're actually watching. You're probably using 1 or 2 services regularly and barely touching the others, but you keep paying for them because you might want to watch something on them eventually. Meanwhile, that's money that could be going toward investments, savings, or paying off debt. And cable is even worse. People are still paying $150 a month for cable packages with hundreds of channels they never watch. That's $1,800 a year for television. And it's not just streaming. People sign up for gym memberships at $50 or $60 a month, go for the first 2 weeks, then never go again. But they keep paying because canceling feels like admitting defeat. That's another $500, $600 a year just gone. Go through every subscription you pay for right now. Cancel anything you haven't actively used in the last 30 days. Pick 2 streaming services. Rotate them seasonally if you want variety. The savings add up fast. A new electronics every single year. A new phone comes out. People line up to buy it, even though their current phone works perfectly fine. New laptop, new tablet, new smartwatch. The old one still works, but the new one has slightly better features. A new phone costs $1,000 now, maybe more depending on the model, and people are buying them every year or every 2 years when their old phone is completely functional. Sure, the new one has a better camera or a faster processor, but does that actually improve your life in any meaningful way? Probably not. You're still using it to scroll, send texts, and take pictures of your food. The old phone did all that fine. If you just kept your phone for 4 or 5 years instead of upgrading constantly, you'd save thousands of dollars, money that could be invested, earning returns, building your future. Instead, it's going to a tech company because you felt like you needed the newest gadget. The worst part, these devices aren't even built to last as long as they used to. Planned obsolescence is real. But you can opt out. Keep electronics until they genuinely fail. When you do need to replace, consider refurbished or last year's model at a significant discount. Branded cleaning products, premium kitchen gadgets, designer furniture.
People are spending way more than they need to on basic household items because they think the expensive version is somehow better. Sometimes it is, but most of the time, you're just paying for a brand name. Generic cleaning products work just as well as the name brand stuff and cost half as much. The cheap spatula from the dollar store does the same thing as the fancy one from the specialty kitchen store. Nobody needs a $400 blender unless they're running a smoothie shop, but people buy this stuff anyway because expensive feels like better quality, and marketing has done an excellent job reinforcing that. There's a whole culture now around having the perfect kitchen with all the right tools and gadgets. People are buying specialized equipment for things they make once a year. Bread makers they never use, pasta makers collecting dust, expensive knife sets where they only ever use 2 of the knives. And furniture. People are financing furniture now, financing it like it's a car or a house, going into debt to buy a couch that's going to be worn out in 5 years anyway. You can get a perfectly good couch for a few $100s if you're willing to look around. Thrift stores, online marketplaces, clearance sales. But people want everything to be Instagram worthy, so they spend thousands on furniture they can't afford.
Status spending. This is when people buy things not because they need them or even really want them, but because they think it makes them look successful. Expensive watches, designer bags, luxury cars they can barely afford. All of it is just trying to project an image of wealth to other people. And it's completely backwards. Actually, wealthy people usually aren't the ones doing this. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. It's people who want to look wealthy but aren't actually building wealth who fall into this trap. They're spending money on things that depreciate in value just to look successful to friends and neighbors and random strangers who don't care about them at all. Meanwhile, they have no savings, no investments, nothing building for their future. But they've got the nice watch and the designer bag, so everyone thinks they're doing great. It's all fake. And the really sad part is that this spending is often driven by insecurity. People think if they have the right stuff, they'll feel better about themselves, or other people will respect them more. It doesn't work that way. Respect comes from character and actions, not from the brand of your handbag. And going into debt to buy things you don't need definitely doesn't make you feel better about yourself.
Let me put all 9 categories in one place because the math is the whole point. Just the extra costs, not eliminating these things entirely, just making smarter versions of the same choices, easily add up to $10,000, $15,000, even more per year for a lot of households. Money that seems to just disappear because it comes out $20 here, $30 there, $15 a month here. None of it feels like a big decision in the moment. All of it adds up to a genuinely large number. That money, invested consistently at a historically normal 7% return, grows into something that changes what's possible for your future. The compounding effect over 20 or 30 years turns those reclaimed dollars into genuine wealth building. The purchases they were going to instead, mostly forgotten within weeks.
Here's the bottom line. Pretty much everything costs more than it used to, and most of it isn't worth the price anymore. The solution isn't complicated. Cook at home more. Keep your car longer. Buy used when you can. Cut subscriptions you don't use. Keep your phone until it actually breaks. Buy generic products. Stop trying to look rich and start actually building wealth instead. Because that's what it comes down to. You can either look wealthy or be wealthy. For most people, you can't do both. Every dollar you spend on impressing other people or buying stuff you don't need is a dollar that's not working for your future. Maybe that means your life looks a little less impressive on social media. Maybe you don't have the newest phone or the fanciest car or the most exotic vacation photos. But what you will have is savings, investments, and actual financial security, instead of the appearance of it. I'm not saying live like a monk and never enjoy anything. Buy things that actually matter to you, things that genuinely improve your life or bring you real happiness. But be honest about what those things are. Most of the stuff people spend money on doesn't actually make them happier. It just makes them broke. And being broke definitely doesn't make you happier. Track your spending for 1 month if you need to. Write down or categorize every purchase. You'll probably be surprised, usually pretty shocked, at how much is going to things that don't matter. Then figure out what you can cut. I guarantee there's something. Usually there are a lot of somethings, and that money could be doing something way more useful than paying for streaming services you barely use or meals out 3 times this week. The people who figure this out early are the ones who end up financially comfortable later. The ones who keep spending money they don't have on things they don't need are the ones who end up stressed about money for their entire lives, wondering why they can't get ahead even though they make decent money. This is why. All these little expenses that seem reasonable in the moment but add up to thousands and thousands every year that just disappear. You do have a choice. Companies have figured out they can charge more and people will just pay. But you can say no. You can keep your old phone another year. You can cook dinner instead of going out. That's not a sacrifice. That's winning the game most people don't even know they're playing.
If this made you think about where your money is actually going, hit that like button and subscribe. Every week, I break down the real financial decisions that determine whether you end up comfortable or stressed, with straight talk and actual numbers. And if you want to understand what happens when you redirect even a fraction of this spending into the right accounts, the video on what $100 a month does to your life over 40 years shows you exactly what that math looks like from the very first month. That's right there. I'll see you in it.